SpongeBob doesn't have a lot of sad episodes. It's a show built on brainless logic, fish puns, and chaos under the sea. But there are times when SpongeBob proves to be more than capable of playing with our emotions, especially this one episode. The one that breaks us, caught us off guard in the process. Because who would have thought that one of the saddest dramas in Bikini Bottom comes from something so simple, as snail food? The story starts with SpongeBob just walking home, dragging a massive sack of snail food. That thing is probably heavier than he is. But then he spots a note taped to his front door. It's a missed delivery slip. Pretty standard stuff. The delivery man doesn't have the finest reputation in Bikini Bottom. What's not standard, however, the package is a Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy paddleball challenge set. Of course it is. This show really loves inventing fake sports that just exist to ruin SpongeBob's life, huh? Jellyfishing, fry cook games, and now we've got paddleball. And not just any paddleball. This thing comes with a challenge that says,
hit the paddleball 29,998,559,671,349 times in a row.
Sounds ridiculous even for SpongeBob. But of course, our boy takes one look at that number and goes, yeah, I can do that. So SpongeBob is locked in, determined to beat the challenge right away, even though he clearly can't hit it twice in a row. That's just how men's brains work, I guess. We love to do stupid stuff for the sake of competition. Well, it's all fun and games until you realize what's slowly happening in the background. Because while SpongeBob's over there slapping himself in the face with a rubber ball, he clearly forgot about Gary's food ration. And Gary is just watching. He meows, once, twice, then louder. But SpongeBob just brushes him off. He said that Mermaid Man needs his help to defeat Dirty Bubbles by doing this challenge, and that he wouldn't let anything stop him, including Gary. So he just tells Gary to go somewhere else.
Pets, sometimes I wonder if they understand a word you're saying.
That line's gonna age real badly in about 3 minutes. SpongeBob is clearly being mean here, and being a bad owner by forgetting about Gary's rations. Also, this is not the first time he's done that, so it just makes sense for Gary to feel like he's had enough, decide to pack his stuff, and leave for good. I swear, man, that ukulele music hits way harder than it should. Then Patrick shows up again. Said that he hasn't seen SpongeBob in a few days. He walks to SpongeBob's house, knocks on the door, and the bag of snail food is still there, sitting in the exact same place as before. SpongeBob has been doing this paddleball nonsense for days, without any break. He's just curled up in the corner now, paddle in hand, eyes bloodshot, muttering, "Darn it," like he's possessed. Patrick, being the emotionally stable friend he is, slaps him back to reality. He also tells SpongeBob that he took the same challenge once many years ago and won, but lost the trophy. That is completely unhelpful and also exactly what Patrick would do. But hey, at least SpongeBob snaps out of the challenge now. So they go into the kitchen for some refreshments, he trips over Gary's bowl, and finally realizes what he forgot. He looks at Patrick and says, "How long have I been doing the Dirty Bubble Challenge?"
Yeah, it's about a week, maybe 10 days.
10 days. He tears through the house, calling Gary's name, flipping cushions, shaking his treats. Even Squidward gets caught up in the chaos, and he's literally mid-bubble bath. That's how serious this is. But it's no use. Gary is long gone, SpongeBob. It's not until SpongeBob opens the mailbox that he finds it. A goodbye note from Gary. And that is where sorrow starts. Also, that goodbye letter is brutal, considering it was written by a snail. Gary literally writes, "These last few years have been some of the best of my life, but I must move on." What is this, a breakup letter? And then it gets worse. He adds, "Don't bother looking for me. By now I've probably found a new owner who actually remembers to fill my food bowl every now and again." Oof. That roast is painful. SpongeBob absolutely shattered reading that. You can see it in his face, the realization hitting all at once. The week he forgot, the empty bowl, the stupid paddleball that literally cost him his pet. And for once, Patrick doesn't sugarcoat it either. He just points at the letter and goes,
"What do you mean? You drove him away. It's right there in black and white. See? Right there. And there."
Patrick's gaslighting game is no joke, man. From here on out, the episode shifts into Gary's perspective. Gary's not having a great time either on his part. He roams around for days without food or any real destination. He tried to salvage some leftover nachos in the alleyway, but got scared by other snails. It's only by then Gary got found by a mysterious grandma who calls him Ms. Tuftsy, who later brings him home and takes care of him. She gave him cookies, blankets, pancakes with extra syrup, a whole jazz dance session. Gary's actually found a new home. Well, at least for now. Meanwhile, back in Bikini Bottom, SpongeBob starts looking for Gary. Posters, flyers, desperately shouting in alleyways, even got tricked by a snail po truck in the process. And what's wild is through all this sorrow and sadness, SpongeBob never once says how he feels. This is the rare moment where the show doesn't have to explain anything, because the silence says everything. Even when SpongeBob walks into the Krusty Krab the next day, he's broken. He dragged himself through the door, eyes sunken in, mumbling, "Sorry I'm late."
Aha! You just forgot to put your hat on.
Cool. Thanks, boss. He puts on the hat, tries to flip a patty until a customer sends a patty back, because it's soaked in teardrops. It's actually kind of amazing, because the whole chunk of the episode is basically a mental breakdown played at kid-friendly volume. When I first watched this episode, I didn't think it would turn into this kind of sad, dramatic story. Not this heavy, at least. I just thought, the punchline is waiting around the corner, right? But no. Just when you think the sadness has peaked, that damn song hits you and takes the drama to another level. SpongeBob decides to fix everything and goes all out with the search. The flyers are up, the posters are out, SpongeBob's doing everything he can to make it right. And then...
Gary, now I know I was wrong. I messed up and now you're gone.
Gary, come home.
You remember this, don't you? The Gary Come Home song? A whole sequence of SpongeBob trying everything he could think of to find Gary, only to miss him by a second, over and over and over again. Man, it's still a tearjerker even now. Doesn't matter if you're a kid, a teen, or 30 years old lying on your floor eating cereal at midnight, that song hurts. I don't know who at Nickelodeon gave this the green light, but they basically looked at the episode and said, yeah, we should emotionally devastate the viewers here. And it works. Oh, it worked too well. We could all feel how heartbroken SpongeBob was. At one point, he just stares at old photos and sobs. We've all been there, SpongeBob. And while all this is happening, Gary's still out there, on a couch in the warmth, being overfed into oblivion by a sweet old lady who thinks his name is Miss Tuftsy. From the outside, it looks fine. Yes, he's having a good time as Miss Tuftsy. But every time he sees a picture of SpongeBob, you can tell Gary misses him. He just doesn't know if it's safe to go back. For everything he's been through with SpongeBob, Gary doesn't hate him. But because the last event feels so cold and mean to him, Gary feels that maybe he was too easy to forget. So it would be better to leave SpongeBob alone. And that's what hits me the most in this whole drama. This episode isn't sad because of the song or even the crying. It's the fact that neither of them really blames the other. They're just sad and wish things wouldn't go this way. But just when you think it's all tears and regret, the episode decides to throw one more curveball. Because Gary's about to discover something that completely changes the tone of the story. The last place you'd ever expect to find actual horror. Remember all those flyers SpongeBob threw around earlier? Well, it somehow made its way to Grandma's house, because Grandma's been collecting paper for Gary's litter box. This is the first time Gary actually sees one and realizes SpongeBob's been looking for him this whole time. Seeing the news, Gary doesn't even think twice about going back with SpongeBob. He's ready to go back to Conch Street. Except, it's not that simple. In an effort to grab his stuff back, which is a framed picture of SpongeBob, Gary unexpectedly opens up a forbidden closet and finds a whole stack of empty shells. Snail shells, to be precise. Exactly like this. Yeah, no, something is definitely wrong. Soon, Gary started to notice, too. Everything makes sense now. The weird absence of other pets, the endless buffet of cookies and pancakes, the way Gary's belt literally explodes off his body from how overfed he is. Grandma doesn't love pet snails. Grandma loves to eat snails. This turn in the plot is the last thing I would expect from SpongeBob. Why are we suddenly going horror now? Gary sees the shells, the music cuts, the lighting changes.
Run!
And run he does, while Grandma chases him, throwing cookies and deviled eggs like ninja stars. What is happening anymore? My tears aren't even dry yet, and now I'm watching Gary dodge pastries like it's a boss fight. But Gary made it. He's a smart snail. Living with someone like SpongeBob teaches you something after all. He manages to trick her and hides, swaps places with that poor background snail from earlier, RIP to that guy. I hope he made it out, but I'm not putting money on it. That was a weird part, not gonna lie. Though, after the twist, cookie chase, and terrifying grandma, somehow, this episode still manages to pull itself back into something hopeful. A scene that finally gives us we've been waiting for, the reunion. And then we cut back to SpongeBob. He's still not in good shape. He's sitting on the couch, staring into space, and says,
I can't cry anymore, Patrick. When Gary left, he took all my tears with him.
And Patrick, being Patrick, tries to help by talking about balsa wood. Yeah, it clearly doesn't help. SpongeBob just snaps, starts bawling again, and runs off into the street screaming Gary's name like a man who just lost his house, his job, and his will to paddleball. He goes to see a billboard with Gary's face in it to get the finale.
I took you for granted, Gary. I'm sorry. Don't just stare at me. Say something. I'm talking to a billboard. Now I'm hearing things. If only I could see you one more time, so I could tell you how much I love you. If only I could hear you meow one last time. Meow. Yeah, like that.
And there he is. Gary sitting right on top of SpongeBob's head like he never left. He's home. It's the perfect ending, in my opinion. We don't need a whole paragraph of apology and crying sessions. Just two characters who missed each other and finally got back in the same room. And SpongeBob goes, "Let's get you something to eat. You must be starving." Which, yeah, the man literally forgot him for 10 days. The minimum you can do is throw some snail kibble in a bowl, maybe with a side of emotional support. Looking back, this episode is kind of wild coming from SpongeBob, where they usually treat logic like an optional setting. And yet, here we are. An episode about loneliness, guilt, and how easy it is to hurt someone you love just by not noticing them. How often do we get caught up in our own little missions, hobbies, routines, obsessions, and completely miss the people quietly needing us? And for a kid's cartoon, that's some heavy stuff. I'm glad they made this season 4 special. Nickelodeon managed to show us that they are capable of doing something great without Hillenburg at the head. Well, not for long. Especially when you realize this wasn't even the last time SpongeBob got this real. Because just a few episodes later, let's just say someone else in Bikini Bottom does something way worse. And the scary part, he's doing it willingly. We already talked about that one too. The moment that flipped someone's moral compass completely sideways. So if this episode pulled your heartstrings, you're definitely going to want to see what happens then. I'll see you there.